I don't work this hard to do what I do for you to paint some assumption. I think probably my biggest pet peeve in a person is assumption.
Hey everyone, Cole Turnbull with Coeur d'Alene Advice Givers, where we interview Coeur d'Alene business owners, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders to bring Coeur d'Alene residents the best advice from our community's brightest minds. Today I'm joined by a serial entrepreneur, founder of Bahlr Media, and host of a weekly vlog for movers and shakers, Corey Jeppesen. As a speaker, Corey equips entrepreneurs, staff, and students to master the art of communication, tap into their unique gifts, and find greater fulfillment in their modern lives. As a founder of Bahlr Media, Corey leads his team of creators as they help businesses transform the way they communicate. Corey believes in going beyond business as usual and pursues relationships over transactions, creating a long-term vision with each client. From web design to SEO to print marketing and videography, Bahlr Media masters the ins and outs of online marketing so business owners can focus on what they do best. Corey's vlog is an unscripted weekly show, which we got vlogger here, where Corey takes viewers behind the scenes to watch the inner workings of a modern day entrepreneur. The show is equal parts motivation, education, and entertainment. Followed by a videographer, Corey shares his lessons in business and in life to inspire the dreamers, movers, and the ones who are shaping the future. Please welcome Corey Jeppesen.
What's up, man?
Hey,
thanks for having me, Cole.
Hey, you're welcome. You know, that's pretty killer intro that you sent me. You know, I look at it and
I think Tabitha sent you that, right? Or did I send it? Or
yeah, whatever.
Thanks.
But I'm like looking at it and I'm going, you know, this is the long game, right?
Yeah,
it's so easy to get focused on that short term.
Yeah, man.
You know,
everything's
about relationships. You know, no matter what business you're in, like where you're going, like. I always try to keep the mindset you know, one day if you want to be the mayor or something like that, are people going to vote for you?
Yeah.
Type thing.
Yep. You got to develop those relationships no matter what.
Absolutely.
By the way, did you say Bahlr Masters in that thing?
Bahlr Masters?
Dude, Max, you're a Bahlr Master. we're gonna take that. We're gonna take that piece and we're gonna just tell everybody at Bahlr Media. How about it?
Yeah, I might have. I don't know.
That's awesome,
we'll
dude.
have to go back and listen to it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to be on the podcast, dude. Thank you.
Yeah. So before we dive into you know, you as a person, Bahlr Media and SeeJepp and all the cool stuff you have going on, we're gonna do a little rapid fire.
Okay.
And just, you know, maybe get to know Corey Jeppesen a little bit.
Let's do it.
So, where'd you grow up?
I was born in Coeur d'Alene, grew up mostly in North Idaho, and as a kid I also lived in the valley, Spokane Valley, and traveled a little out of high school and kind of, you know, saw more. But yeah, Northwest.
Favorite childhood pastime?
Childhood pastime, I used to collect sports cards.
Wait, so I saw you were a Bills fan. You grew up in the Northwest.
Yeah.
How are you a Bills fan?
Because I like it. Weird story. I'm a Bills fan because when I was about 6 years old and they were the best, so I'm actually a real bandwagon fan.
Yeah.
Because I jumped on the Bills bandwagon when they were good.
Yeah.
And they were going to Super Bowls, losing every one. But at that time, nobody bothered you because, I mean, eventually it became a joke after the third or fourth Super Bowl. But yeah, I like the logo. I looked at the logo as a kid. I wasn't any in art. I mean, I was a kid, and I picked the team because of the logo.
Yeah.
So.
What's your you have a go-to song that gets you in the zone?
Yeah, probably not. Some of them aren't appropriate, but one a lot of songs from Mike Posner.
Yeah.
I'm a writer, and I look up to him a lot in regards to how he views things and how he writes. Songs from him are always a go-to for me.
Go-to restaurant?
Right now?
Yeah.
Currently?
Yeah.
Cosmic Cowboy.
You walk into a bar, what do you order?
Champagne. Brut champagne.
If you could only have 3 books the rest of your life, what would they be?
I would say number 1, books, right? First one would be The Way of the Shepherd. And The Way of the Shepherd is my favorite book of all time. It's by William Pentak and Dr. layman, and I think it's lame. I don't know, but The Way of the Shepherd is my favorite book of all time. Other books, I obviously like Gary Vaynerchuk material, books by him. I honestly don't find a whole lot of time to read. I'm doing a lot rather than reading, and I'm listening and I'm watching. And we could talk a little bit more about that in regards to communication. But yeah, those are the books that I would. The Way of the Shepherd is just the one for me.
Yeah.
And if you're leading people, if you are helping others, and you want to be effective, read The Way of the Shepherd. Hell, if somebody reached out to me and said, hey, I saw the podcast on the Coeur d'Alene Advice Givers about The Way of the Shepherd, I want that book, I'd easily sponsor 5 purchases of that book to whoever reached out.
I'm putting it on my list.
Okay.
Go-to source of content.
Oh, go-to source of content for me? Video.
Like through YouTube, Facebook, what do you, how do you take it all platform? In however you can? Yeah.
Yeah, however I can. I look at, there's obviously the asset and the platform. My preferred platforms probably, for me personally, Facebook and Instagram are big for me. I'm not a big YouTube guy. My kids are really into YouTube, obviously. They love that. But Facebook, Instagram, Facebook's got to be my go-to.
One daily habit that makes your day better.
Coffee. Drinking coffee or doing the vlog.
Do you like start the day off with a cup of coffee? Like, is that how your day starts?
I try to.
Cup of coffee.
Yeah, I try to. And then a daily habit, maybe a weekly habit, is obviously working out in the gym, all that kind of stuff like that. Definitely makes me feel a whole lot better. I bet you if I elaborated more and started thinking about specific things that are unique, because those aren't very unique, the things that I just said. But yeah,
dude, I was
having a cup of coffee.
I was listening to Mike Tyson on Joe Rogan Experience podcast. He's actually never had a cup of coffee in his life. He's never had coffee in his life.
Really?
He's had all kinds of other stuff.
I'm sure he has. Yeah.
He elaborated on it, but never has had a cup of coffee.
No, I'm actually always wondering if I always operate on coffee. Meaning I've never experienced what it's like not to have it.
Yeah. You're trying to feed it to me, and
I'm like, I wonder if I just stopped drinking coffee, I would be a completely different person. People are always like, I need coffee. Maybe I don't need coffee, and then I'll just be completely different. Maybe I'm always at that level. And
maybe. What's your favorite aspect of Coeur d'Alene?
Well, my favorite aspect, I don't know what you mean by aspect, but I would say, the summer
thing. What keeps you in Coeur d'Alene?
Summertime.
Summer.
Yeah, I freaking love it, man. Yeah, summertime is great in Coeur d'Alene, and the community, the people. It's definitely the people and the people I grew up with, and yeah.
Nice. So that wraps up rapid fire. Now we can just go, man. Kind of go wherever this is gonna go.
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll have some fun here. So I love when I interview people like you. It doesn't happen very often where you have massive amount of content out there. I probably spent way too much time watching videos and going back and
thank you
and researching and being hey, what is this guy passionate about? And there were so many things that you're passionate about that I just had a hard time wrapping it into
one topic.
Hey, let's hammer this topic home.
Yeah.
But there was one post I saw you post the other day, it was a flashback on Facebook to 2010 or something. And you said times are tough right now, but I'll push through this.
I remember that. Yeah, right? 9 years ago that post.
Yeah, and no doubt you did. And so what inspired you to be who you are today from whatever that dark time you're going through is?
Yeah, well, I don't even think the time was dark. I think it's just that's a really great question, a really great example, because that post, I think a lot of the Facebook posts that we do on a personal level, right? I think a lot of it is reactionary, and Facebook allows us, and in social media and platforms allow us to just get that out instantly. Do you know what I mean? So that day could have been just a bad day, and I thought it was a bad day, but I like the idea that it doesn't matter what it is I'm doing at this point in my life, I always try to look at the big picture. The big picture is if you're consistent with the good days and consistent with whatever it is, the person that you want to be or that person that you are, then you're going to be just fine. You're going to understand that life goes goes up and it goes down, and I have a whole idea in regards to that. But like just being consistent in every single day. So like when I posted that, it was just a nice little good symbol that I saw in my history of Facebook, that it was like, wow, there was a day that I felt the need to say it was a bad day, but I'll push through this. And like the fact is, we're all going to push through it. Unless you die.
You don't have a choice.
Unless you die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's another lesson. Like, yeah, you could die. I could die tomorrow. I could die right now. You know what I mean? And knowing that, and I know that's a really cliche thing to say, but it's really damn true, man. Like I should live current. Like I want to live right now. Like I want to enjoy this and make sure that I'm present. Make sure that when I'm talking to you, that this is the only thing that matters right now.
Yeah.
You know, and to understand that, yeah.
I think being present, is something. I know that's something that I could work on getting better at. I don't know if you ask my wife or whatever, she'd be like, "Yeah, you need to, be more present." Like, how do you make yourself more present? Like,
think of the big picture.
Yeah.
At all times. I don't know. Well, because we all have. I mean, even like all of us, we get preoccupied with what the future holds, and we have fear and anxieties in regards to what tomorrow's going to bring. And I think of that too. Like, I have a lot of responsibility with the company and the people that work for me, and even the audience and my message, and it kind of gets overwhelming sometimes, whether it's just normal personal anxieties or stresses over money or whatever it is. You just don't know. But looking at the big picture, saying like, you can only do what you can do. So I always say this in my vlog, but Buddy Lay, his in Coeur d'Alene, he owns Coeur d'Alene Galleries. He gave me a really great piece of advice. He said, control the controllables. And that's a really, like, I will die with that advice from him. I'm sure he got it from somebody else. And I think he tried to correct me once, saying, "Hey, man, I want you to know I didn't make that up." I'm like, I know, but you told me in a really hard time that I really needed badly. And I will never forget it. You know what? Sometimes you just get advice, and it's just the right time at the right place, and it just penetrates and pierces your heart. And he said, control the controllables, because really, man, like, how do I stay present? I control the controllables. I only control what I can control. And if I start getting overwhelmed with things of Bahlr Media and things of expectations from others and pressures of society, I remember, okay, let's sift and filter all this through and figure out what I can control, what I can't. And the things I can control, I take action on. The things I can't control, I don't worry about anymore, man. Like, in the end, what's really the worst that can happen to me?
Yeah, when you're taking action, how do you go about taking action? Do you write it down, save it for later,
so
scribble a little note in your phone,
steps?
Whatever, yeah. Like,
oh man, I don't know. I just start doing it.
Do it.
I just do the low hanging fruit. Whatever's easiest at the time, meaning not easy as in lazy, but easy as in passion. Like, I feel if everybody just does what they're passionate about, then they're most effective because they're fulfilled. Whatever you're passionate about in life, you should do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, like screw money, man. Like, money is just a symbol. It's just a credit. It's just a measurement. That's all it is. It's not the thing. We all have this idea that, well, I think we subconsciously chase money. We just want it for some reason, but we really don't actually stop and think, well, what do I want money for? So if I consult with somebody in their business, I will macro the shit out of it, right? Sorry if I can't cuss.
No, that's all right.
But I will macro.
Drop
okay, cool.
S-bombs, whatever.
So I will macro to the fullest in everything, meaning I will take a wide look. I will go up 50,000 feet to show them, like, does this really matter? It's like, does money really matter? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? Like, what are you trying to accomplish with this podcast? What are you trying to accomplish with Bahlr Media? Well, I'm trying to be fulfilled in my life, period. Why do we do anything that we do? Because we want to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not selfish. I mean, why do you want to be married with kids and have a family, or why do you want to be single forever? It's because you feel that that's the thing that's going to bring fulfillment to your life. And so, and there's nothing wrong with chasing that. There's nothing wrong with going after what it is that brings you fulfillment, as long as you're not hurting others and not hurting yourself. Just be you. The problem is we live in a society that doesn't back that up. We live in a society that says, hey, like, one size fits all. This is the system. Fit into it or be outcasts, right? Screw that, dude. Like, I'm going to be me, because we're individuals. We're unique. There's no other Cole in the world. Like you, meaning there's no you, period.
Yeah.
There's a lot of podcasters.
Right.
There's a lot of real estate
Millions.
agents. Yeah. There's a lot of vloggers. There's a lot of, like, real estate agents. Actually a really great one. There's a ton, but there's none like you. Is agent, you're an agent too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's none like you. Period. There's unique. And so if you double down on that and you be yourself and you know that, say, I'm not an agent, I'm Cole, the agent, meaning I'm going to bring Cole into it. I'm going to bring my personal into it. And what happens is you start attracting the people that really want to be with you, the real person. And if you're just out there robotic in society in this one-size-fits-all societal, like, coat or whatever it is, like, it's just draped over all of us, like, this is how you do it. And you're just, like, robotic, like we all are a lot of times, because it's hard to break out. It's hard to hack culture. You end up just being like everybody else, and you attract just people to the thing rather than to you. But if you're you, like me, like I am a businessman in this modern day society, right?
Yeah.
What does that look like? I don't really care. I have tattoos everywhere. I grew my hair out. But I'm going to just, like, I show up to business meetings in beanies sometimes, and we're pitching $100,000 contracts because I don't really care if they say no, because I know I'm going to go in there and just be myself.
Exactly.
And if they don't like it, then they don't have to do it.
That's it. Like, I write, a lot. Like, that's usually how I kind of express my, my
cool,
feelings and that sort of thing. And, going through, and, like, my wife asked me one day, like, does that makes you feel better? Because, like, I don't express, like, my feelings and that sort of thing through spoken word very often. Like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty, like, to myself, like, held in. But, like, when I start, like, putting pen to paper,
That's
it's
cool,
like,
man.
you can write stuff that I would never, like, ever tell, really anyone. And then all of a sudden it's on Facebook,
Yeah. Do you? Do you publish your writing?
Yeah.
You do? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man.
So, and I mean, going through that and looking at, this is your story. And I always tell people, like, dude, like, nobody has your voice.
Nobody.
Which is the same thing that you just said, right?
Yeah.
Like, nobody has your voice. Nobody has had the experiences that you've had.
Period.
I've heard it. I've seen it. Like, I was watching actually one of your Corey 365 videos.
That's old school.
Which we're gonna
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about that
Cool.
too. But, and you were talking about how it was actually like a rant. I don't even think it was actually like a 365 video. But it was like you were, like, upset because somebody got pissed at you because glorified this person. Mm-hmm. You don't have the experience that they have with that person, right?
Right.
Like, you don't know. Like,
That's exactly right. The
Totally.
perspective was different.
Yeah.
And so, like, literally, do you want to segue into Corey 365 right now?
Sure. Yeah. Let's
So
do it.
yeah, like that specifically, and I'll kind of give some background on that. But during that project in the year 2016, where I said something nice about someone every single day, and it did so much more than just make others feel good, it changed me. It made me, like, it just created habits that I never knew I had. It made me more confident, and it just really helped on so many. It was a manifold result, right? And what I did figure out are, if you say 365 nice things about 365, one nice thing about 365 different people all year long, you're bound to say something nice about person 300 and about 3, and then person 54 hates person 3, and then you create this rift, right?
Yeah.
You'd be surprised that there's not just that specific occasion. There were times where people were like, how could you say something? I mean, one specifically was, how could you say something nice about that person after what they did to me? I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I didn't know they did anything bad to you. And you know what I mean? I'm like, look, I have a different perspective than you. Just because you don't like them doesn't mean I don't like them. And look, I don't know your story, and I just know that even if you guys had a rift, or this person maybe has a dark side or some insecurities, or maybe the person really is a jerk, I can still find something great about them. And I think that's the one thing that's going to heal that person in the long run. That was the whole idea of the project for me in the very beginning. Was hopefully I can help somebody understand that they're 100% greater than they probably think they are. because we're all insecure. We're all down. I mean, right now, you and I are like, we're sitting here, we have our perspectives, we're all trying to do our best at this podcast, but in the end, we all have times where we sit alone and we're insecure, we're unsure, and we're hoping we're doing the best we can. And that's when I control the controllables.
Right? Then I'm sitting here like, God, dude, I bombed that interview. But it's like, but no, you didn't. No,
you were just yourself.
You're not. Nobody's supposed to know how it goes.
Yeah, it's as long as you're yourself, you can't ever fail.
Yeah.
And then don't even get me started on failure. Don't even get me started on what success is. It's not, doesn't exist. It's just a word. Like, as long as you're being yourself and doing your best every day, then you're not a failure. You're not a success. You're not a loser. You're just you.
So the Corey 365, like, was it something that like you just came up with and you're like, I'm going to start this on January 1st? It was 2016, right?
Weird. Like, yeah, I was just like, well, I think I did, if I remember correctly, I'm going to give a shout out to Mason. He works for me and worked with me. He's amazing. He's our operations manager at Bahlr Media. If he did a video one day, just randomly, in his car. I think he lived in Oregon at the time, and he just gave a couple shout outs, right? It was just a shout out video. And he was like, hey, I just want to say I love you to this person and this person. He was just saying positive things about people. And I was one of them. And it inspired me. It made me feel special. I was like, wow, like my friend in Beaverton, Oregon took the time out just to say how much he appreciated me. Even if it was just, hey, I just want to say, Corey, that I love you, man. You're great. And blah, blah, blah. It just made me feel great. And I don't really know how it all strung together in my head at that point, but I know that is a pivotal moment for me. That was, I was like, I'm gonna do that every day, and I'm gonna do it one time. And what I resolved to was, how hard can it be? Like literally, I could take my phone right now, Cole. I could do a video and say, hey, I just want to give a shout out to Cole right now. I think he's an incredible dude. He's so authentic and kind. And these are all true things. Just what I already know about you.
Yeah.
Like, he drove all the way out to my house and we're doing a podcast together just because he's a friendly guy and you're just great, dude. And I just want to say I appreciate you. Hit the button, put it up on Facebook. How long would that take me? 15 minutes, right? And so to think that this is what I told myself, to think that I couldn't take 15 minutes, if 15 minutes out of my day to say something nice about someone else, I then challenged my character, right? I was like, well, now you have to. Now you have to do it, because if you say no to that, then what kind of person are you really?
Yeah, you're a piece of trash.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't. Nobody's a piece of trash, right? But yeah, you would think that. I would think that about myself.
Yeah.
But then what I discovered was so many more things. Like, I think I'll always talk about that project for the rest of my life and how it changed me and made me better and taught me lessons that it created consistency, it created confidence, it made me comfortable in front of the camera, it made me a comfortable speaker, but really at that point I was like, how hard can this be? And it ended up being one of the most difficult things ever too.
Did it become addicting?
I don't think so.
No?
I still am not addicted to the camera. Like, I seriously am not. Like, I still get nervous. We're all the same, man. Like, we all think of our best ideas in the shower and in the car. Like, it seems like I know we all do, right? Like, at least I do. And I just know, like, you're in the shower, you're in the car, you're on a long drive. Those are when your freaking best ideas come.
I know. I've thought about putting like a whiteboard in my shower.
Right? It's weird how that happens. I think it's because we're like really vulnerable and we're like really thinking. I don't know. That's just my logic. But so, like, I'll have a great idea. And then I'll be like, oh God, and if I don't write it down, if I don't put it in my phone, I used to do selfie videos of just the idea, but I never went back and watched them, so that wasn't very effective for me.
Yeah.
So what I do now is I just pull the notes up in my phone and I write. Now Max, who's running the camera and the Facebook Live, and Josh and Alyssa and different members of Bahlr Media, I mean, I'm so grateful and lucky that I have great people around me, that we've built something great where I can be like, hey, Max, can we vlog today? Or, Max, I have this great idea, because if I don't say it right now, I'm going to lose it. You know what I mean? Because I will. Because I think a message is great, but a message told passionately is best. And I think the only time you can really activate passion is when it comes to you. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, you can't impact anyone else's life if you don't share your message.
Yeah, but you got to share it at the opportunity. It's more than a message. It's sharing your message at the right time in the right place. That's why professional speaking is I don't know how it happens, but like me and Tabitha work on that, right? And we go speak somewhere, and Max has seen it. There are times where I feel like I'm just lost. You know, I'm so in the message, and I look at the people as if they need what I'm saying, right? And so I get locked into that shower mode or that driving in the car mode where I'm having that idea. But so like Corey 65 taught me, is the only way you can develop that habit to where you can go into that mode to deploy your message effectively and passionately at the right place at the right time is practice. Practice it, meaning how did I practice? I did a video a day for a year in the year 2016. I practice articulating. I practice talking. I practice being in front of a camera. I got rid of the ego. I didn't care what people thought because there were days where I was walking down the street doing it. Do you know how hard it is, nerve-wracking it is to be somewhere where there are people and this is you?
Yeah, you're walking down Sherman.
Yeah, I don't care. It still happens.
know,
like
right?
me and Max did a video the other day. He was in the, what do you call those things? Skywalk. Yeah. I always want to say breezeway, but like he was in the skywalk and I was walking on the street, right? So he's in the skywalk. I'm on the street. What do I look like? I look like a crazy person, like walking on the street talking to myself. But I got to get over it, and I'm creating a habit. I know currently when I'm doing that, when I'm doing a selfie at a coffee shop, or when I'm doing a video, when I'm communicating, which is what it is, I don't care what people think of me because I know that the message that I'm sending is helping somebody. So if you want to think I'm out of touch with reality, I'm more in touch with reality than anybody. Because reality now is a window through electronics, unfortunately. And it'll change someday. And then guess what? I'll be right there. Adopting communication. The macro of communication. Understanding where is people's attention. And I'll be there. And it's super awkward. The only way I can create a good habit and to get into the zones of the shower mode or the driving mode where the ideas come is to practice. And to not be perfect. Understand, like, that's why I love vlogging so much. It's because it's not perfect. Max tries to make it perfect. Like, the video editors try because they're really great at what they do, and that's why they're so valuable, because they make great production out of it. And I'm just so super grateful. But what I love is the ums and the ahs. I love the imperfections of people, and I love my imperfections because that's what makes me unique. And perfection doesn't even exist anyway, so I don't know what we're trying to attain after.
Yeah, right.
We do.
Chase your own tail.
We all want to be perfect, man. Like, if we're doing videos, you want this podcast to be perfect? It won't be.
Oh, trust me, there's
what I mean?
been podcasts in the past where I said, God, we gotta redo it. That was terrible,
right?
And then
just
it's like,
upload it, man. Just upload it. I love it.
It actually wasn't that bad.
Consistency and what is you know what else Buddy told me? Buddy, this is the highlight. Buddy is like my Yoda, right? He gave me this in the same session he gave me. He said, it's not the big that eats the small, it's the quick that eats the slow. So it's not the big that eats the small, it's the quick that eats the slow. So if you have a shitty podcast one day, and it's just you were all over the place and just didn't go well, upload that thing anyway. And then do another one, and do another one. Eventually it just piles. Like, do you know how many vlogs and episodes that I hated? That I just was like, I was not on. Like speeches where I'm like, I just wasn't on. Like, just wasn't like there. It's okay, because we're going to do another one in 2 days. We're going to do another one in 2 weeks. And I just believe that imperfection endears people, because when we're talking in real life, when we don't have mics in our face or cameras on, what's the difference, man? Like, what's the difference? You're not perfect. You don't get to retry that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't get to retry. You just get to talk once, and that's the impression that you get to leave. And so to think that we get to try multiple times on these black boxes called cameras and this thing called a microphone, like, just get rid of those, man. Because, like, use them as just ways to communicate and treat it as if you're talking to a real person, because you really are.
I don't know. That is, like, probably one of the most difficult things for people, I think.
Yeah.
Is to look at Facebook like it's, like there's actually real people on the other side of that window.
Yeah, but
that you're talking to.
So many people, especially in our society, romanticize about the way it was. They think that this is the devil, or they think this is the way of detriment to society, and I don't understand why, because it's just the same thing as a TV, it's just smaller.
Well, yeah, one of the things that I really loved about the Corey 365 project is that, like, not everyone, but a lot of people have such bad, notions of Facebook. Oh, it's so negative, and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, it doesn't have to be negative.
No, it doesn't.
Like, you can flip it and turn it however you want. You want to make it negative, you can make it negative. You make it positive. You can make the worst posts on earth positive.
Yeah.
I learned something from that.
I think a lot of times that the mainstream media, or like large media, they promote the bad, because that's just what gets attention, right? But now we live in a time where there are no more gatekeepers. There's no more. There's no people telling us that what we can and can't broadcast. We can't broadcast.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, you brought these mics, and I have a phone, and Max has a camera, and we're all publishing our own stuff right now. We didn't need a radio station. We didn't need a TV network, which are all very valuable to society and communication. I like having that. But I think it's great that we can communicate now by us. So what you're saying is people have this bad notion in regards to Facebook's so negative, I'm tired of the politics. Well, freaking change it then.
Yeah.
Get on and tell your message. You think you're valuable? You think, like, okay, Mr. or Mrs. like negative about Facebook and Instagram, and you think it's so bad, well then change it and stop complaining when you're actually complaining on the platform you don't like. It's crazy.
Change something, right?
Like get a phone in your face and change it, but don't argue the thing you don't like, because you're just adding to it. Like, you don't like negativity, yet you're going to use negativity to fight negativity. What is wrong with you? Okay, and then you believe you're right? Like, the person that's complaining believes they're right. And that person also believes that they can add value to the world, because they can, because they're unique. And I bet you $1 million they're the sweetest, most gentle, generous people in the entire, like, in the world. Like, I mean, that's saying one person's better, but you know what I mean? They're very good people. So take that good inside of you and deploy it, and make, like Gary Vaynerchuk says, make positivity louder. Like, just, you have these opportunities right here, and instead of complaining about them, use them. Like, I have a message, and so I'm deploying it as many times as possible, all the time. And I don't care what anybody thinks, because I know my message is going to help you. I know it will. And the only thing that's not going to help are the people that don't like who I am. And fortunately for me, I am who I am, and I'm okay with that. So if you don't like that, that's okay with me.
I know Gary Vee talks about it a lot. He's like, because I don't hear him. He always says that. Because you know why? Because I don't hear him. I heard him talking about it today. Like, how do you either block out that that negative bullshit or whatever it is, the haters per se?
Yeah, I believe that I don't, like, the whole phrase of I don't care what anybody thinks about me, right? That phrase is pretty vague for me. Like, how do I be who I really am? Like, be okay with who I am. I'm okay with who I am because I know what I stand for. I know I'm inconsistent, and I know sometimes I can hurt people on accident. I'm never malicious, but I understand that I have inconsistencies and I'm imperfect, but I'm also trying really hard, and my intentions are to make the world a better place and the people around me, right? But I'm also adopting, hey, this is me. This is who I am. And as long as I'm not hurting anybody else on purpose and hurting myself on purpose, I'm okay. I'm going in the right direction. So as far as, like, saying, like, I don't care what anybody thinks, like, people that say that, they're like, I don't care what anybody thinks, I'm going to do what I want. Well, number one, you better make sure you're not hurting people on purpose. If you're a jerk and you're, like, out there, like, taking advantage maliciously, then you need to check yourself, right? Like, that's not okay for you to be like that, because then you're hurting others and you're hurting yourself maybe. And so I feel that as long as I'm being myself, if you don't like me because of who I am, as long as I'm checking myself and making sure that I'm not hurting anyone and not hurting myself and doing my very best to instill my value into the world, and you don't like that person, that's okay with me. And that's when I really don't care what you think, right? I really don't care if you don't like my quirks. Like, I could be, like, talking. I don't care if you don't like my tattoos. I don't care if you don't like the way that I look. I don't care if you don't like the way that I talk. I don't care that you don't like that I'm on camera or I have a vlogger. I don't really care, like, because that's who I am and it's not hurting you. You just don't like it. I get that. There are people that don't like me. You might leave here today and be like, freaking hate that dude. But you know what I mean? No, but I'm okay with it because I know that I'm myself and I'm trying my best, man. And and that's true. There are some people that don't like me and that's okay. And there are some people I don't like too. But I understand what I don't like about them. The next thing real quick is the only time I do care about what you think is when you assume something incorrectly of me. Like if you say that I'm a certain thing and I know I'm working my ass off not to be that thing, and you say you don't like me because of that, then don't assume something just because of the way it works. Because don't assume something based off anything. If you really want to make a difference and you really want to know, then you ask. Like I am Tabitha, like and the people around me, I will especially, I say Tabitha because I've done this, because she keeps me very in check, right?
Yeah,
as my PR manager, she is very like, you did this wrong and you shouldn't have wore that, and you know what I mean? And so like I'll be like, I'll say it, like I want to know if I don't like something, or if she doesn't like something, or Max, we don't like something that we're doing, we say it out loud because we trust each other. And if you really don't like you know, something about someone, don't assume something about them. Just ask them. They'll probably tell you the truth, and just say, hey, like I don't want to assume this, but for some reason I'm having, you know, this and this, if it's actually affecting you at all. So I care when what somebody thinks when they're assuming.
When they assume.
Yeah, about me.
Don't ask that
just fires
question,
me up.
You know?
Yeah, like just freaking ask me. Even in dating and professional life and personal life, all that stuff, just communicate. It really, dude, it's all about communication. Communication is the braid of life. It is the thing that makes the world go round. Without it, you're nobody's anything. They're making anything happen.
Which you touched on it. Communication, the macro. The macro of communication, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know that today it's, you know, Facebook and Instagram and all that, but what's your insights on that?
Everything is communication.
Yeah.
Everything. What is macro? It's looking at the big picture, right? Looking at it all. Everything is communication. I own a company that's what they do. They communicate a message that you have to their target demographic or audience, right? That's one thing that I've created, and a culture and a staff that's their job. In the end, like if we ever get all miscombobulated or whatever the word is at work or in the agency, I always try to just say, guys, in the end, we're creating content and we're deploying it, period. We're communicating this message. So Max is really great storyteller, right? Through video.
Yeah.
There are some great storytellers through writing, like you. You're very good at articulating a message in writing, okay? Then there are some people who are very good at speaking. I like to speak audibly, right? I like to talk.
Yeah, you go,
you know what I mean? I
these
love it.
Talks.
I love articulating with my words, and I like to write too. Everybody is a communicator. They just communicate differently. And so without communication, I mean, what do you got? Nothing. And so I'm trying to tell and inspire people, number one, have a message. If you have a message, communicate it. If you really believe in it. If you believe in your message, if you believe in that, like, what are you doing here if you don't want to make a difference? If you don't want to help people? If you don't want to help yourself? You know, what the hell are you doing here? Like, what are you doing? And so I think that's when all this other layers of society comes in and puts pressure on people. Like, we live in the greatest time on the entire world because we can communicate whatever we want to communicate at any time. But we don't do it because we're afraid of what society and culture will say about us, because it's really hard to take, because it's a lot of pressure. It's hard.
Yeah. People judge,
yeah,
you know,
and that
and
is
then
not
you're,
easy.
You're afraid, right? Like,
Yeah.
hey, like, you know, Jack and Tom are, you know, going to judge me if I actually think this.
It's so hard because it's easy to say,
Yeah.
like, it's easy to say to the audience right now to be inspirational. Let's be inspirational for a second.
Yeah.
Don't care about people judging you. Don't just care about you. Fuck, that's hard.
It is.
That is not easy.
No.
And so to care, like, I still care about what people, like, being judged. But that's innate, right? That is society and culture has instilled that in me, that one size fits all. Like, you need to meet these criteria to be accepted in culture and society. But in the end, like, No, you're unique. You're one of a kind. You're different. Everybody is. Own that. And then communicate your message as best as you can. If you really want to, once you believe in yourself, I always say the fulfilled you is the you the world wants most. The fulfilled you is the most effective you in the entire world. It makes the most impact. If you're not fulfilled, take care of yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup, and in the plane when it's going down, you can't help anybody unless you've put the mask on yourself first. So number one, take care of you. Know what your message is. Believe in it. Then you can start helping others. But you can't help others unless you put the mask on, get up, and go help them. But we're all sitting here with masks on, the plane's going down, and our heads between our legs. And everybody else is freaking out around us. They need us. And so know yourself, know your message, and communicate it. How does that analogy work? Know yourself, be okay with it, take care of yourself, make sure you're fulfilled, make sure you're doing what you love, and then go to the rest of the people in the world and find out where their attention is, which is dug deep in their phone in coffee shops or wherever, in their beds, in their couches, they're on their phones, and they're dying inside. Put something in front of them that has to do with what you do and implement into the world and make their world better, man. Like, that's it. It's just really communication. But the problem is there's a whole lot of information and not a whole lot of wisdom out in the world. So the wisdom is just actually not wisdom at all. It's just you. It's just what you believe. What is it that you believe? As long as it checks boxes of being like not hurting you and not hurting others and you're passionate about it, I don't care if it's making cupcakes. That's
Share away, right?
That's an element of joy for people. I don't care if it doesn't have to be inspirational. If you like to paint, if you like to take pictures, if you want to be a mom and you just love being a mom, document that. Talk about how much you love being a mom. People are more attracted to how much you love something than how much you can teach them. They learn more that way.
For sure. I mean, you've kind of
I'm all over the place, bro.
Touched on a lot, right? So
I told you, hey, it's like a snowball,
which is fine, right? Because I'm like, so we might overlap a little bit.
That's okay.
Some of these questions, whatever. You can just go on and rant and rave, and we can just go with it. But I imagine social media. You started Bahlr Media when? Like, when did you start your
Bahlr Media is a rebrand, but SeeJepp started in about 2011.
Yeah.
As a freelance business.
In mind, in 2011, like, what did you have in mind for
just
SeeJepp
designing logos and doing brands?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a graphic designer at first. That's where I grew from. And so I used to just have a laptop, and I used to do graphic design for people. Just a freelance designer doing logos, not knowing what the hell I was doing, just doing my best because I'm a designer, an artist, right? But I also have always been an entrepreneur. I always, and I even hate saying entrepreneur now, but I've always been someone who wanted to communicate. I've always been someone who wanted to, I always see the value and then sell it, or not, I hate saying that, but like share it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I was good at something, design, so I learned it. I self-taught myself up until, a while ago, I decided to take myself back to college, and I did that.
So what was the moment then that, like, kind of clicked in your head where you're like, you know what, like, I got a message to share that needs to be heard, and I want to share it. Like,
I don't know.
Not you can't.
There definitely is a shift somewhere in my life, and I mean, I went through a lot of hard stuff. Like, I got a divorce, and that was tough, and just like some very personal milestones that were tough to get over. But I don't really know where it was that I changed. I don't know where my mind changed, where it became, oh, you're a designer, you're an owner of an agency that does logos and websites for people, where now I'm like awake. Like, it's more than that. Like, websites, logos, all that stuff are just tools to bring you to the ultimate goal, which is make sure you are fulfilled in your life. Why does a company want a website? Why do they want a logo? Why does a person want a brand? Why do they want SEO? It's because they want to be successful in this culture and society. Why do they want to be successful in this culture and society? Because they want to take care of their families and themselves. Why do they want to do that? Because they want to be fulfilled, man. Like when we talked about at the very beginning, we could die tomorrow. Don't get so wrapped up in the process where you forget where you are. Like, live the goal now. The pursuit is happiness, not the pursuit of happiness. Screw the pursuit of happiness. Screw it all day long, because we're always in pursuit of something that we'll never get. You'll never get to the end.
Yeah, there is no end.
Settle it.
The day you die is the end, right?
Yeah, and you won't even know that happened, probably.
You don't know.
But if I get hit by a car from behind, I never get to, like, no, that's the end. It's just done. And then I freaking I wasn't current. I wasn't present. The pursuit is happiness. So if I know the pursuit is happiness, then I'm here now. I'm good. I get hit by a car from behind, and I know I gave him my all.
Like, man.
You know what I mean?
Gave it all.
I know I'm giving it all right now. Like, this is it.
I've noticed you kind of have a mantra, and I don't know if this is kind of what I picked up, but be yourself at all costs.
Yeah,
is that,
I've said that before.
That ring
at all costs.
Is that
it's so easy to say, so hard to do? Yeah. Yeah. It's freaking hard.
You want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, it's just the society doesn't accept it. They say they do, but they don't. Because we live in a really weird time in the world.
Back to the judging.
Yeah, we just live in a weird time because older generations, not all, I'm not trying to like separate demographics here, but there are some people in the world that, you know, they don't accept the way younger people are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And that's ridiculous. It happens in politics, it happens in everything. Like, guys, like, just be yourself. If you like to play video games, play video games. As long as you're not hurting yourself or hurting anybody else. Like, if you like to do this, do this. Like, but at any cost is really hard, man.
And I know we've talked, you know, Gary V.
Mm-hmm.
He's come up a few times, and I'm sure he was an inspiration, probably.
Yeah.
You know, to you to come out and, you know, create a vlog. And
yeah, he was the inspiration of my vlog.
Was he?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Like, he's always, you know, talking about attention, underpriced attention.
Yep.
And I'm sure, you know, that's what you're doing. You know, you're capturing.
I get it.
Underpriced attention.
Yep.
What's something if, say, Jack is sitting on his couch tonight, you know, having a pity party about, you know, my life stinks, whatever. Like, I don't have any money, or, you know, there's no business coming my way, type thing. Like, what's one piece of advice that you would give to Jack to maybe help turn that switch?
Find out what you love, Jack.
Yeah.
What do you love doing? Like, what turns you on? Like, what is it that makes you light up? I don't care what it is. Fishing. Maybe Jack loves to fish. Well, go fishing more. But then document fishing. Do you realize, Jack, that you could start a vlog on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube about your fishing experiences? And you don't have to teach anybody anything. Just share. Share your experiences, because that's how you communicate. It is underpriced attention because it's freaking free, man.
Right. And then so I mean, you created a media company with, you know, with SeeJepp and now Bahlr Media, which on the back end, which, you know, is great because you can go ahead and you can run any sort of monetization business, you know, off the back end of your front end, which your front end is you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's what we're sitting here doing right now with, you know, Max and everything, you know, shooting the video and really getting out.
Well, yeah, the only thing I'm doing right now is I'm leveraging what we're doing right now multiple times. Like, and I think everybody should do that. How many people does it take? I mean, 3.
3.
Like, I'm leveraging it there. I'm leveraging it there. We're leveraging it here. We did stories. Like,
realistically, it could take 2. Yeah. Or even, you could do it by yourself.
Set a camera. You could do it by yourself. I could set this up on a tripod. Yeah. And the people we don't do it because we don't think we don't think through it enough, and we don't understand that this is just communication. Like, I always come back to that. Like, Stop looking at this as a phone. Stop looking at Facebook as a social media thing for the kids. Stop looking at all this stuff as, stop compartmentalizing it. Everything is a website online. Everything is a website. Your Facebook page, your website, all of it. They're all windows to communication. Okay? So find out which one you like best. Find out which one your target demographic their attention is. So, my demographic, I cast a wide net because my message is pretty like human. You know what I mean? But like if you're a dentist, you're going after consumers. You're not going after a lot of business people. So you need to find where those are and then leverage all that. Leverage your content on it. And just a real quick is about Gary Vee talking about underpriced attention. He couldn't be more correct. My vlog is inspired by his blueprint. Like I always say, like the vlog and what we're doing is I'm following the blueprint of a legend. I'm not copying Gary Vee. Like I really want this piece, Max, to be like, I want this to be a piece. I'm not copying Gary Vaynerchuk, but he is an idol of mine in the best way. He is a Yoda. He is someone I look to and I'm like, yes, the model, the blueprint is the best word I can think of. I'm like, the blueprint that he's created is freaking perfect. However, I'm not him, and I'm very aware of that. I'm just following the blueprint. It's like he's not gonna, I'm not gonna ever do it like him. I'm gonna be me. I'm different. I'm just doing the same things because I understand what he's doing. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I know. Like I hear it all the time. Like people are like, "Oh, I need to. Why didn't I invent that?" Or like you really sit back and think about it, and it's like, Airbnb didn't just get invented one day.
Mm-hmm.
Like it came about from some guys renting, their apartment out because they couldn't afford their rent.
Mm-hmm.
They're just solving a problem.
Yeah, it's no different than you're right. Like it's like someone the analogy is just because someone like bought there's the concept of a car.
Mm-hmm.
The concept of a car is to get into a machine and drive from this place to this place. What a great concept. Like put an engine in this body, put a seat in it, get in it. Someone came up with that concept, right? Gary Vee came up with a concept, a blueprint, right? It doesn't mean I drive the same damn freaking car. It doesn't mean it has to be the same color. It's not going to be the same at all. It's going to be completely different, but the concept is the same.
Right? Could you imagine if you tried to invent that concept? You'd still be sitting on your butt, like.
Well, most people are always.
Yeah, it's like what where do I start? But when you start borrowing, from other ideas, I want to do that, bring it in and make it your own,
Well, I mean, his stuff is pretty easy to follow if you just do it, and then he actually talks about that too.
Yeah,
talks about doing it. Like, yeah, you're right, dude, but doing it is hard. Because if you do something, like you have an idea, ideas are bullshit, they're cheap, unless you do, because everybody has ideas. Everybody has ideas, right? No, everybody has great ideas. You go to your Christmas party and Uncle Joe has this great idea for a new invention, you know what I mean? But nobody, next year it's going to be not done, and he's not going to have done it. But you got to do. So if you have an idea, you just do it, and then do it consistently. I say this in my speeches too. One home run doesn't win the game, man. You can't hit one home run. So many people, when it comes to social media, especially in business, and this is what I do in my consulting, I will challenge my clients and tell them, I'll say, look, you need to do more. You need to do more things consistently. You can't just do this great video or this great post once a week, this one time, this 1 week, and think that's going to do it for you. Because what happens is they do this one thing that they know they need to do, like post on social, communicate, do a video, and they sit back like, oh my God, I did it. I did the thing. And then they don't do it again because you know what? Being consistent is hard. It's really hard.
It is really hard.
It's so hard, man. Like you're on episode 50, 51.
51.
This is 51?
Yeah, this is 51.
Dude, that's hard.
I started this in 2016.
Yeah.
Right?
Freaking hard, dude.
I mean, if you did initial goal is, hey, let's do one podcast a week. I'm like, if I did one podcast a week. I should be on podcast 150, whatever, you know, or however that math works.
I bet you there's
out,
some
you know?
dips in the timeline of what you've done with the advice givers. It's just hard to be consistent, and so I'm not going to not be empathetic to that. I'm not going to. This is what I don't like about motivators and inspirational people, is I don't like that they tell everybody that things are easy. Like, just do it. Just be consistent. Just do these things and you'll be good. Screw you guys. It's not easy. It's hard. It's hard to be consistent. It's hard to be yourself. It's hard to do. Okay? So, number one, inspirational person, be empathetic to that. Understand and say it out loud. Say, hey, these things are really hard. Like, but I'm here for you.
Yeah.
That's the difference, dude. Okay, to be consistent. So my clients, I'll say, hey, this is going to be hard to put your face in a camera every week and do an Instagram story. Okay, it's going to be hard, but we're going to take baby steps. We're going to get you to build a habit, like I built the habit. And then you're going to start seeing the value. And you're going to start seeing the value of what it's doing to the people watching, and you're going to start seeing the value of what it's going to be doing to you inside. And then you're going to be like, wow, that really worked. That was awesome. Like, I got tattoos last night, you know, at my tattoo place. Yeah. I made them all do videos. Well, I didn't make them. I encouraged them. Yeah. And you saw Jeremy did a video. You should play that one right there, you know. And then Peter did a video. And we're all doing these videos together. And I challenged him on my left. I do one every day, bro. I'd like to see if Jeremy did it today. But, you know, it's hard, though, because I'm not there to make him do it. That's what I do for my clients.
It is hard. Yeah. Like, you know, going through the podcasts, and then I'm like, oh, you know, now I'm like, hey, if I get one every two, you know, if I do an interview every 2 weeks, you know, I feel like I'm somewhat consistent, but I'm not super consistent, right? Like, I have waves, like you're saying, like, in, I forget who always talks about it, but even Ed Milet or something, he's talking about seasons, you know, your life. Like, you go through seasons just like the weather goes through seasons, you know, the earth does. Where maybe one season you're like into fitness and you're like getting fit, and then the next season you're all about working, you know, podcasts, making your business better, whatever, you know, your family, whatever you're doing, right? It's like there's so much seasonality in it. It is so hard to go out and hit the pavement and run in the summer and in the fall and in the winter when it gets cold and you don't want to go out there and you're like, shit, it's cold outside. I don't want to do this today. I don't, you know, it's so easy to make excuses. It is.
And it is. It's easy to not do. It's hard to do and be consistent, but the payoff is great. If you're a person and you're listening to this podcast or you're watching the vlog, and you want to set yourself apart and you want to really make an impact, the only thing you have to do is find the energy and find the audacity and the ambition to just do it, and do it at a 3, 4, 8, 10, 1 level. I don't care how good it is. Learn it, because being consistent and doing is better than not doing. Bruce Ware, my business coach, he says to me all the time that done is always better than perfect. So the only way to get done with something is do it. Just do it, but do it consistently. Put out the worst video content ever for 50 straight days, and I promise you that video content will get better naturally. But what you'll find is the value that you received in the consistency and the doing is going to be far and away the most valuable thing you've ever done, because then you have a habit. Then you've seen the value that it did in your heart. You're like, wow, like I feel so good, because you're like cycling energy. It's like coming in and out, and you're just like on. You know what I mean? It's just, and you're making things better around you, and people are saying, wow, thank you for posting that, or I'm so glad, it's so inspirational, and it'll just turn you on. It'll just make you alive. Be consistent and do. Those are the two things that if you just do those two things, do consistently, as long as you have something, like as long as it's, you know, you feel that you have the mask on and you're taking care of yourself. First things first is you.
Mask, before anyone.
Yeah, make sure, exactly. Make sure you are taken care of, and then do. The fulfilled you is the you that's most effective. It's the you the world wants most. Be fulfilled, communicate, do, and do consistently. That's it, man. You know?
It's awesome. I mean, in your opinion, probably already answered this question, but in your opinion, what's been the most critical aspect to your success as, an entrepreneur?
The critical aspect of my success, something that I hold valuable, that the key thread of being successful.
like what's something that like you were like, man, like if I wouldn't have done that, like I wouldn't be where I am.
Well, the answer is exactly what
we
I
just
think
talked about.
Communication.
Right?
I communicated it.
Yeah.
I said, I'll be myself, be okay with myself, and communicating. Like, I mean, just talking.
Just getting the message out there, right?
How else are we gonna know unless we communicate?
So if you could go back in time,
Well,
get in that time machine, what advice would you give yourself? Say pre Corey 365.
Actually, it's really tough, man, because I don't really. It's really hard for me to answer those questions, just because I never know how to answer them, because I really value the time.
Everything.
I just value it all. Like, I value everything. It's like, I'm the type, okay, let me just say, I'm the type of person, if I went back in time, I wouldn't want to touch a thing. Because I really do like my fucking life right now. Like, I'm really happy. Like, I'm fulfilled. I am so good. I mean, I go through times and anxieties and stresses, and I worry and I cry and I get angry. But really, in the end, I'm freaking happy. So if I went back in time, I'd be like white gloving it. I'd be like, I don't want to touch anything. I don't want to say anything. I would not even get in a time machine.
Would you document more? Like, would you have started like Max and you're like one?
Well, I mean, what do you mean? Like, these questions are so like, they're so layered, because
Right?
if I went back, could I talk myself in? Would I have to? I mean, if we in a movie scenario where I have to talk to myself, like, if I could rewind with the knowledge that I have, well, sure, I would.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I could rewind to 1990 and like just be the person in 1990 with the brain and knowledge that I have, dude, I'd rule the freaking world. I'd be president.
Oh yeah.
Like, I would have so much more time. But I honestly, I wouldn't want to be president. But I'm just saying, like, I still have a lot of time, and I know what I want to do. But I would just be me then. If you're like, this scenario is so weird, because I go back to 90 with this brain, I'd still be that brain guy. So that question is moot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey.
But yeah, dude, it's.
So if you get one message out to the community, what would it be?
Don't be afraid to be yourself. Like, and I know that's really vague, but
Which kind of goes back to that mantra.
Just take some time. Take some time to understand what you really want. Stop focusing on money so much. I mean, you gotta. Unfortunately, you live in a society that requires money, and I get it. And it's easy for me to say, because I, started this company, and now I have a company, and so like, I have an income. And there's a lot of people that struggle with that, but like, I'm not different. Like, I didn't take any loans. I didn't take any, there's a small like loan, but I didn't have like an angel investor. I didn't have anything. We build this off of hustle and grind, dude.
Off of developing.
Yeah, I'm not in debt. I did it because I wanted to. So what's my message? Do what you want to do. Freaking just do what you want to do.
And figure it out.
Quit what you want to. Quit something you don't like. Got a job you don't like? Quit it. You'll be all right. Find another job that you do like, because you could die tomorrow. Do what you want to do, as long as it's good. If it's good, like, you can live your life. Your life is happening right now. It's happening right now. You're listening to this. You're watching this. Cole, your life is happening right now. Like, what are you going to do with it? And in the end, it's your fault. I'll tell people that too. And that's a Gary Vee thing. Like, he says, everything is your fault. And that's absolutely right. Like, yeah, there's things that happen to you that you have no control over, and that sucks. But in the end, it's your fault in how you handle it. It's your fault how you react to it. that's kind of the meaning and the context of that. You're in control right now.
Control the controllable, right?
Yeah. Right now, if you're listening or watching, you're in control.
Perfect. That wraps up my end of things.
That's dope, dude. I love it. It was fun.
Hey, I'm glad you had a good time.
I did.
How would people, get in touch with you, follow you?
I would love just Instagram. Just go to my Instagram. It's SeeJepp. It's at SeeJepp. Just at SeeJepp. And if you can't find your way through Instagram and all my other content, then maybe we should talk more. But
Google
it's just Google SeeJepp. Find Instagram's the way, man, because that's what did you say, Max? We double down on Instagram a lot. You can find me on Facebook through SeeJepp, SeeJepp. I don't care that. If you want to book me to speak at a conference or an event, or you want to consult with me and hire me as a consultant, you can go to thefulfilledyou.com or talk to Tabitha at SeeJepp.com, or you can find her everywhere on social media, or just get a hold of us. It's not hard to find.
I actually have one more question that just came to mind.
Let's do it.
You're probably gonna be like, oh, I could wrap this so many ways.
Yeah.
Where do you see you, yourself, your business in say 5-10 years?
I don't know. 5 to 10 years, my girls are a big part of my life, and my girls would be 16 and 13, right? I'd like to be traveling, speaking, and spreading my message to more people. I want to continue to be vlogging. It's not to travel though. I think I have something of value to give, and I want to give it.
Yeah.
And I think it'll help people. I really just want to see people be fulfilled, man. I think the world is better when you're fulfilled. It just is. It's like multiplication, man. It's like if you're fulfilled, you're 20 times the person that you are when you're not.
Right. Can you imagine if everyone walking down on the street was as fulfilled as you are?
Yeah, if they were just, we all have shit. We all are dealing with stuff, right? I'm not trying to say fulfillment is perfect peace. Fulfillment is just being okay with everything, being understanding and being current and present, right? So being fulfilled, saying, in the end of the day, I'm happy, I'm good. This is what I want. I'm good with what I have. I'm good with where I'm at, because I know where I'm at now is not going to be where I'm at later, right? So yeah, if I can inspire others to really just be themselves and understand that they're one of a kind, that they're unique, living in a society that doesn't back that, then society changes, because society and culture is just a group effort, right? It's a mantra of the world we live in. Let's change that by creating the understanding that you are absolutely 100% set apart, unique, and one of a kind. If you understand that, then you make everybody better around you, because they're just happy to be with you. I don't want to be around you when you're fake. I don't want to be around you when I want to be around you, but you know what I mean? I don't want to be around a fake person. Someone just nobody likes that show off fakey person. I'd rather, if you're a jerk naturally in your heart, and I want you to be that.
Then be a dick.
There are people that are complete dicks, and I'm I could still hang out with you. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm kind of
not all the time,
right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are friends. I'm man, you're just a jerk. To the core, but I like it because that's who you are, and it's not a jerk in the way society defines it. They just got that rawness, that edge. If you're an edgy person, be edgy. If you're a fluffy person, be fluffy. If you're extraordinary, if you're dull, if you're that's fine. That's all personality traits. You know what I mean? I want to be around that.
Right, and then be that way when you're
we all love Eeyore,
sharing
right?
your videos on Instagram, that sort of thing, right?
Exactly.
Don't be fake.
Yeah.
Be who you are. You. And people will naturally, who like you, who want to,
they'll be attracted to you.
Attract to you, as opposed to.
Could you
if
imagine?
I got on and was all fluffy and whatever, and all of a sudden I'm this is totally not. Which, building a real estate business that's something that I've learned in the last couple of years. It took me years to learn it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be somebody I'm not.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have a professional headshot anymore. I scrapped it because when I first got my real estate license, I was like, oh yeah, I better put on my tie, and my sweater over my collared shirt, go get my head shot. And I'm like, that's not me. Like, I'm never going to show up to a meeting with a client wearing a tie. It's
just not who you are.
It's just not who I am, unless I'm just like leaving like my wedding or something, like.
That's smart, dude. Just be yourself. I love that.
Like, that's just how it is.
And if you don't if someone doesn't like it, then that's okay.
Yeah, then you aren't for me.
Yeah, and it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Someone might not like you.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot.
Yeah. But that's okay, and you don't hate them for it. You actually like them. Mm-hmm. It makes me better. When you have people that don't like you and you hear it, that's actually good, as long as you're being yourself.
Makes you know you're doing something right.
Yeah, you're just being it makes you think like, okay, good. I'm glad. Like, I know I'm being me. So if they don't like me, at least I'm not going to waste my time, and they're not going to waste theirs. You still love people. You still respect them. Like, people, if they don't like who I am, or they don't like the way I talk or the way I do something, I still respect who they are, because, I mean, they're actually doing the right thing by not being with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, another thing Bruce Ware says is, you got to check the people living in the front or sitting in the front row of your theater of your life. The theater of your life. Who's in the front row of the theater of your life? And which ones do we need to call security on right now? The ones that are not like with you, the ones that are not your people.
Yeah, not your.
Yeah.
They walked in the wrong movie theater.
Yeah, exactly. I love that, dude. So,
cool, dude.
Good stuff.
It was fun.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you. Cool.